This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Christian Levesque, New Brunswick. The Spinster Book by Myrtle Reed. Chapter 7. An Inquiry into Marriage. Marriage appears to be somewhat like a grape. People swallow a great deal of indifferent good for the sake of the lurking bit of sweetness, and never know until it is too late whether the venture was wise. Chaucer compared it to a crowded church. Those left on the outside are eager to get in, and those caught inside are straining every nerve to get out. There are many in this year of grace who have safely made their escape, but unfortunately the happy ones inside say little about it, and do not seem anxious to get out. Fate takes great pleasure in confusing the inquiring spinster. Some of the disappointed ones will advise her never to attempt it, and in the voluble justification which follows, she sees clearly that the discord was not entirely caused by the other. Her friends who have been married a year or so regard her with evident pity, and occasionally suggest, delicately enough to be sure, that she could never have had a proposal. Among her married friends who are more mature, there is usually one who chooses her for a confidant. This consistent lady will sob her unhappiness on the girl's shoulder, and the next week ask her why she doesn't get married. Sometimes she invites the girl to her house to meet some new and attractive man, with the memory of those bitter tears still in her heart. A girl often loses a friend by heartily endorsing the things the weeper says of her husband. The fact that he is an inconsiderate brute is frequently confided to the kindly surface of a clean waist-shirt, regardless of laundry bills. The girl remarks dispassionately that she has noticed it, that he never considers the happiness of his wife, and she doesn't see how the tearful one stands it. Behold the instant and painful transformation! It is very hard to be a popular spinster when one has many married friends. That interesting pessimist, Herr Arthur Schopenhauer, advocates universal polygamy upon the theory that all women would thus be supported. To the unprejudiced observer who reads the comic papers and goes to afternoon receptions, it would seem that each woman should have several husbands, to pay her bills, and see that she is suitably escorted to various social affairs. If a woman had 7 husbands, for instance, it is possible that some of them would be willing to take her out whenever she wanted to go. If she yearned for a sealskin coat or a diamond pin, and no one of them was equal to the occasion, a collection could be taken up. 2 or 3 might contribute to the good cause, and be so beautifully rewarded with smiles and favourite dishes that the remainder of the husbands would be inspired to do something in the same line. At least 5 of them could go out every night in the week. The matter could be arranged according to a simple system of rotation, or they might draw lots. There could be a club room in the house, where they might smoke without affecting the curtains and Madame's temper. Politics and poker make more widows than war, but no woman would find it in her heart to object to the innocent pastime under such happy circumstances, because she would be deprived of nothing, not even her husband's society. 6 of them might play, while the other read to their wife, and those who won could buy some lovely new china for the house. The sweetness of the lady of their several hearts would be increased 7-fold, while her frowns would be equally divided among them. There would be a large and enviable freedom accorded every one. There would always be enough at home, so dinner need not wait, and Madame would be spared one great annoyance. If the servants left suddenly, as is not unusual, there would be men enough to cook a dinner Epicurus might envy, each one using his own chafing dish. Men make better cooks than women, because they put so much more feeling into it. The spirit of gentle rivalry which would thus be developed is well worth considering. Some one of the 7 would always be a lover. To sustain the old relation continuously after marriage undoubtedly requires gifts of tact and temperament which are not often vouchsafed to men, and this would not prove so irksome if the tender obligation were shared. Marriage would no longer be the cold potato of love. Different men always admire different qualities of the same woman, and the beauty of the much married lady would be developed far beyond that of her who only had 1 husband, because a recognized virtue is stimulated. If a man admires a woman's teeth, she gets new kinds of dentifrice, and constantly endeavours to add to their whiteness. If he speaks approvingly of her hair, various tonics are purchased. If he alludes to her mellow voice, she tries conscientiously to make it more beautiful still. There is a suspected, but not verified relation between a man's affection and his digestion. With this ideal method of marriage in force, the dyspeptics could go off by themselves until they felt better, and not be bothered with tender inquiries concerning their health. If the latchkey unaccountably refused to work at 2 o'clock in the morning, some other member of the husband could always assist the absent ones in, and Madame would never know how many were late. The financial burden would indeed be light. The household expenses might be divided equally, and relieving the wife's necessities would be the happiness of all. One might assume the responsibility of her gowns, another of her hats and gloves, another might keep her supplied with bonbons, matinee tickets, flowers, and silk stockings, another might attend to her jackets and her club dues, her jewels might be the care of another, and so on. It would be the joy of all to see their peerless wife well dressed, and when she wanted anything in particular, she need only smile sweetly upon the one whose happy lot it was to have charge of that department of expense. There would be no friction, no discord. Madame would be blissfully content, and men have claimed for years that they could live together much more amicably than women, and that they never quarrel among themselves, save in rare instances. This, they say, is because they are so liberal in their views, but a great many men are so broad-minded that it makes their heads flat. It is strange that this happy form of polygamy did not occur to Herr Schopenhauer. It might be because he is a pessimist and a man. The most nervous time of a man's life is the day of his wedding. The bachelors and the Benedicts give different reasons for this when they are gently approached upon the subject, but the majority admit, with lovable and refreshing conceit, that it is because of their innate modesty and their aversion to conspicuous prominence. If this is truly the reason, the widespread fear may be much lessened, for in the grand matrimonial pageant the man is the most obscure member of the procession. People are not apt to think of him at all until the ceremony is over and the girl has a new name. What he wears is of no consequence, and he has no wedding gifts, though he may be remembered for a moment if he gives a diamond star to the bride. Yet it is this ceremony which changes him from a vassal to a king. Before marriage he is a low and useless trump, but afterwards he is ace-high in the game. A latter-day philosopher has beautifully likened marriage to a trip downtown. A man leaves the house in the morning, his mind already active concerning the affairs of the day. His newspaper is in his pocket, he has plenty of time to reach the office, and his breakfast has begun to assimilate. Suddenly he sees a yellow speck on the horizon. He calculates the distance to the corner and quickens his pace, his eyes nobly fixed meanwhile upon the goal of his ambition. Anxiety develops, then fear. At last he surrenders all dignity and gallops madly towards the approaching car, with his coat-tails spread to the morning breeze, and tears in his eyes. Out of breath, but triumphant, he swings on just as farther pursuit seemed well nigh hopeless. Does he stop to chat cheerily with the conductor? Does he dwell upon the luxurious aspect of his conveyance? Does the comfort which he has just secured fill his heart with gladness? Does the plush covering of the seat appeal to his aesthetic sense? No mere woman may ever hope to know, for he grudgingly gives the conductor 5 pennies, one of them badly battered and the date beaten out of it, and devotes himself to his paper. The thing which appears unattainable is ever desired by man. A girl who wears an engagement ring upon her finger has a charm for which the unattached sigh in vain. The masculine mental process in such a case, briefly summarized, is something like this. 1. Wonder who that girl is over there. Red hair and quite a bit of style. Never cared much for red hair. Suppose she's got freckles too. Now she's coming this way. Why, there's a solitaire on her finger. She's engaged. Well, he can have her. I won't cut him out. Wonder who she is. 2. Really, she ain't so bad. I've seen worse. She knows how to dress, and she hasn't so many freckles. Brown eyes, that means temper when associated with red hair,